Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Akibatun lil Mustaqim. Allah fi kul umri esta'in. Allah fi kul umri amjid. Allahu la ilaha illa hu. Allahu asma husna. Muhammadan huwa Sayyidina Magbubana. Innahu kana Rasulan Nabiyan. Wa kana Sayyidin Mursaleen. Salawatu Allah Ta'ala wa salamu alayhi. Salamu alaykum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh lil ikwani wa akhwati fi din. Salamu ala mani taba'a huda lil ikwani wa akhwati fi America wa Afrika wa Europa, Asia wa kulli makan. Ahlan wa sahlan bikum. Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters who were here today and who will show up here in the future. And Assalamu alaikum, my dear brother Isaac. And here's a person, I don't know, this person's wrote in, oh, wait a minute, I know what this is. They wrote this in Russian. I know exactly. Here's another. We're starting off already, my dear brothers and sisters, with the pornographic portion here. This is sent to my. Okay, they wrote this in Russian, but I won't get into how I know that these words here, but I just removed them from the chat. Okay, my brothers and sisters, today we are now touch on a very, very important subject in the Aqeedah, because I got you to a point now where we are, we just got a glimpse of what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala wanted from us and what we have to believe. And believing in that he has the right to legislate. That's what we talked about the last time. And you must believe that it's his right and his right only to legislate. You must believe that as a believer. And now we're getting to the point where we're getting into the Qadr Allah. This is a subject that is very, very deep. And you can have many classes on it because it's very, very, very deep. I'm going to give you the basics of it here and some integral parts about the Qadr. And I remember I was thinking about something before I got on. It was on another show a long time ago where this guy, we found out it wasn't a Muslim, but he claimed to be Muslim. And he had made a comment about Qadr Allah. And so when he began to talk about it, I wrote in the chat, I said, well, what are you saying? And so forth and so on. And so I had to correct him. And then I said that the Qadr Allah is not something that's very simple. It's a lot of, and he said, no, he says, anyone who understands the Qadr is not simple. I got to laughing about that because I found out later he wasn't a Muslim and I called him on it. But that's another story in itself. But the Qadr Allah is an important factor because remember, the week before we had the legislation, okay, written, meaning man is supposed to follow his legislation only. Now we're getting to the Qadr Allah, which is the predestination. This is what we're talking about when we say Qadr Allah. And it's many aspects. It's not just thinking about quote unquote, we can use in the Hindu language, karma, or English, they use karma as well. This is something far deeper than that. And to bring a point to, I want to give you something that I told to many people this. Back in 2002, I had opportunity, I was looking for my ancestors. Way back in 2002, I was looking for my ancestors. Way before the DNA popped up because I had a lot of dreams. I had different things come to me. So I went to Ghana and I had the opportunity to meet in the eastern part of Ghana, a very wise man who's passed on right now, rahimahullah. And I began to ask him questions about essentially the qadr. I said to him, I said, I don't understand why airplanes fall out of the sky, or why some child would die at an early age, or why certain things would happen, bad luck, and so forth and so on. So he said, look, I'm going to tell you what my teacher told me, which is his father, and his father all the way down the line. And he said, in the search of truth, I found that there are unexpected clouds and storms, and that man is powerless to control, and he cannot decide from his own whims what is going to happen at any given time, because his fate is already prearranged, and that the path of death follows and stalks man of all ages. He said that when you understand that the heavens, and he used the plural, and the universe is true by leaving things alone. This is fitting for the qadr, because there's things we do not understand, and it's best for you to leave it alone, because there's things we just don't have the ability to understand. And this was given to me by a wise old Sheikh Islam. And he gave me this, and he's dead now, rahimahullah. And it's fitting, because he says, when you understand the heavens, meaning the seven heavens, and you believe in them, then you leave things alone. So those airplanes that fall out for no reason, or they disappear for no reason, there's things we do not understand. He said, leave it alone, let it go. And I took that advice to the best of my ability. So let's look at this. And I'm going to give you something, because I want you to remember there's two individual sects of Islam that they perverted the religion. They will never tell you who they are, but they will give you what they believe, and you stay away from them. One of them is the Qadariya. These people here are the Aqla of the Qadr. They believe in different things about the Qadr Allah. And some of this belief is that they say that the man is destined to be what is written and is not free to do anything else or as he wills. This is contrary to the Islamic belief. I'll give that in a minute. But these people have said, basically, you're not free. You're not free. When you walk out of your house, it's kind of like you have to walk on eggshells, because everything is already predetermined for you. So you might as like give up. You don't do anything. You just kind of like, go about your business like a zombie. This is what they believe. And then the other one is Jabariya. And these people believe that they have part of it right, that that man is controlled by predestination, having no free will, which again is meaning, again, he believes that I'm able to do this, I'm able to do that, but things have already been predetermined for me. So therefore, I can go ahead and murder. I can go ahead and fornicate. I can go ahead and sell drugs and so forth and so on. Everything's okay. You stay away from these two particular. They'll take you out of Islam. There's some other ones too that use metaphysics, and the Qadariya, they're the ones who used to use the metaphysics as well to describe subhanahu wa ta'ala, and even the words in the Quran. These people were bad people. Okay, they were very bad, and they took a lot of people with them in their ear to the fire, because they began to believe this nonsense that they were peddling. So stay away from them. Now, the Qadr Allah is the concept that Allah knows everything and has already decided everything will happen. Okay, that's pretty basic. This is called predestination. Okay, Qadr. However, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his wisdom and his mercy, has decided for us that that people they can make their own choices. He will not go over people and tell you, you must believe, or you must do this, or you must do that. You have a free will. This is where, in some ways, this differs from those two sects of Islam, which are part of the 72 that are going to the fire. Remember we talked about this many times on my show and other shows, where there will be 73 Islamic groups. 72 are going to the fire. These are part of the 72, these two groups here. And there's some other ones, but that's a whole class. I don't want to get into them. And they got bizarre names, but each one are extremely dangerous. And I gave you one, I think last week, matter of fact, when they told about, I told you about them, the Ash'aris, stay away from them. They have, again, deviant philosophies and so forth, stay away from them. But there's people that are pushing these in the United States, and a lot of African Americans are starting to go to it. And I saw one guy on TV the other day using metaphysics and using some of the fiqh from this particular group. Stay away from these guys who do this. When they use metaphysics, they use Zen philosophy, or they use Tuba philosophy from the 15th, 16th century. You stay away from them. These people are deviant. Get away from them. They have nothing to do with Islam, and so forth. Just stay away from them. So Subhanahu wa ta'ala lets you have choices, okay? And this is very interesting that he will allow us to have these choices, and we can make these choices. He'll give you the messengers. We know that. And you either follow them or you don't follow them, but you'll pay for this in the hereafter. And I want to give you a verse here, Surah 20, and I love this verse. And it kind of gives you an insight into what Subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he's thinking and what he wants from us. This is Surah 20, and the verse is 15. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Verily, I am Allah. There is no God but I. So serve thou me only, and establish regular prayer for celebrating my praise." See, my brothers and sisters, again, we have to put this into context again. You cannot believe in the qadr Allah and then you say, well, I believe in democratic ways and means. You just said you don't believe in that the legislation rests with Subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't go and say you disbelieve over here where about legislation, and then you say you believe in the qadr. You cannot, because they're both hand in hand. You must believe that Subhanahu wa ta'ala has the sultan. He has the power of the heavens and the earth, and his legislation, he's the only one has the right to legislate. If you say no to that and turn around and say, oh, well, yeah, but I believe in the qadr Allah. That's not true. You can't mix the two. You have to believe in both, because both are related. So here, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that he is the only one, that you worship him, and that you establish regular prayer and you make your praises to him. So this is important, my brothers and sisters, very important. And there's also another surah too, which is Surah 87. This is, again, verse 2. This is Surah 87, verse 2. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the Lord has created and balanced all things and have fixed their destinies and guided them. This is another proof of predestination. Subhanahu wa ta'ala has many verses in the Quran explaining his power, explaining that everything has been decided. And the Muslims must believe this. But where we get in trouble is that we believe that we have certain insights that can predict certain things. You may get lucky. This is where we get in trouble, because Shaitan plays with us in this regard. And what I mean by that, we're sometimes we're guilty. You say, you know what? Guess what I'm going to do next week? I'm going to go fly into France. You don't say inshallah. This is what we say in Islam, meaning if Subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. This is your obedience, your ta'at. Remember, I use this word all the time in ta'at in Arabic. meaning your obedience, that you are obeying and that you believe in the qadr Allah. So you say, inshallah, you're covered. You're saying, I'm going to go to France next week, Wednesday. But you say, inshallah. This is what we do as Muslims to make sure that we're covered, that we have no arrogance, that it's not us, that is our own destiny. We can make our own destiny because everything is already written. But we can't go and say, hey, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fly into France next Wednesday. How do you know you're not going to die before that? You see? So we as Muslims, we say, inshallah, and that will cover you, meaning, again, you believe in the qadr Allah. Assalamu alaikum, my dear brother Soul. How you doing? Soul Journey of Life. How you doing, my dear brother? Assalamu alaikum. So that is the essence, again, of the Muslims and how they believe, and how we are so bashful towards subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no arrogance towards subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other religions, they have arrogance because they've assigned partners to subhanahu wa ta'ala. Others, like the Jews, they have not. But in some circles they have, but they've created another book and they've done other things that has angered subhanahu wa ta'ala. But us, we have this humility towards subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not saying that our Jewish brothers and sisters don't, because the Orthodox Jews are very, very staunch, Jews. Okay, and Judaism, they practice Judaism as close as they can orthodoxly to what Moses alayhi salatu wasalam had given them. So the Muslims must believe that free will is part of the human life, that subhanahu wa ta'ala is granted you, as I said earlier, that the belief in free will is essential in Islam. This is because for the Muslims, life is a test from subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all know this. If you read what subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, you heard and you have read and you've heard the scholars and our students of knowledge talk about how subhanahu wa ta'ala tests the Muslim. You cannot come and give your shahatain and then think you're just going to walk through life without being challenged, or that you're not going to have calamities, because he's going to test you to see if you really believe in him. We believe that, and Muslims must believe this. If you don't believe that, then you cannot be a Muslim. And we have people today who said they're Muslims, but they believe, and they'll tell you straight, subhanahu wa ta'ala can't punish me. You'll hear this. This is sad, but you'll hear Muslims say this. You know why they say that? Because they're out there slinging dope, or they're out, or some of the brothers have 6, 7, 8 girlfriends and they're fornicating, and nothing has happened to them as of yet. So they assume subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't know, or he's not paying attention, or they feel that they're exempt from any punishment. This gets you in trouble. But we have Muslims believe that. So therefore, all human beings must make their own choices and decisions, and they will be judged on those decisions by Allah. This is important. You see the wisdom in this? When you die, you cannot say, I was forced to believe this, or I was forced to believe that, or it was against my will, I fornicated. It was against my will, I slang dope. It was against my will, I was a gangster. Or it was against my will, I went and killed some people. You see, you cannot say that. And you got to remember something, my brothers and sisters. I know some will be asking, well, Yahya, look, man, before I became a Muslim, I was a banger, man. I slang dope, I went to prison, and so forth and so on. Remember, Muslims, before you became Muslim, if you were robbing banks, so you were a gangster in LA, or you was a gangster in Mobile or Jackson, Mississippi, all that is washed away the minute you give your shahadatain. Remember that, okay? All that's wiped away. So that is in the past. You don't even mention it, to be honest. And you don't really give that information out to other Muslims because it's not their business. That's between you and subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's forgiven you. So when you become Muslim, when you were banging and slanging out there in LA, you're forgiven. Okay, when you give your shahadatain, and then there's some other conditions. I went through that, but I won't get through that today. But I just want to give you this indication here that you have free will. So when you're inside the grave, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be talked to. And you're not going to have an excuse, because Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said you had a free will, but you did not believe in me. You had a free will. Why did you go out and slang dope? These are things that will be questioned, and you will be, this is serious. This is talking the trial in the grave. And you read the hadiths on this. It's a serious business. So on the day of judgment, God will reward those who had faith and done good deeds and punish those who have not. Again, free will. You have the free will to do what is right. You have the free will to take care of your parents. You have the free will to take care of your family, and to wish for the best for mankind, but for the Muslims in particular. And you also are free not to make things that anger Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, like assigning partners to him. Second, fornication. He doesn't like that. That's why there's a death penalty for fornication in many circumstances. These are the issues like this that gets us in trouble. You have a free will. You can do these things, but you suffer the consequences in Yom Kiyama. When you're in the grave, you'll get challenged. So that is something that you be aware of, because even though you're slinging rock out there and you haven't been punished yet, don't think you're going to go through life and it's going to be, even if you do go through life and you don't repent from it, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will question you in the grave about it. And I don't want to be in a position like that in the grave, have to explain why I was slanging and banging. I don't want that. Or I was a fornicator. Or I went out on my wife and had girlfriends out there on the street here. I don't want to explain that, because everything will be written and your book will be there and it'll be gone through. It will explain what you have done. So be mindful of that, my brothers and sisters. So we know that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is so just. He's given you a free will. You can't ask for more than that. He's giving you a free will to worship. And if you decide not to, he's still giving you a free will to do the other things. Now, there's punishments and retribution. We know that even in the worldly life for when you make bad choices, because we know what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said in the Quran in a few places. So we have to be mindful of that, my brothers and sisters. Be very careful of that. And always try to put the best foot forward. Try to be the best Muslim you can, the best human being that you can, because this goes a long way. You get credit for that. Every day that you're doing the right things and you striving for the right things, and you get credit for it when you do something wrong and you come back and ask for repentance. You get credit for this. So remember that, my brothers and sisters, okay? Remember that. It's important. Now, we get into another area. As I told you before, the Qadr Allah is just not karma. That's all, predestination. There's things that you must believe in. And this is important for the Muslims to understand his deen, because I hear this continuously, almost every other day. I hear Muslims, especially in the West, say the same things over and over again. Yeah, I'm a Muslim, but hey, I just pray. I make some fasting when I'm have to in Ramadan. I read the Quran sometimes, but hey, I'm still a Muslim. And when you ask them, what about Islamic education? I don't need it. What about learning the Quranic Arabic so you can read the Arabic and the language that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? Oh, I don't need that. I have the English version of it. This is what I hear all the time. I hear this constantly. And I won't get deep into that, because that's part of the Nawaqid al-Islam. It's number 10, but that's another story. And it's sad. I hear this a lot. One of the important factors of the Qadr Allah is the Malaika, the angels. This is the part that's confusing to many brothers and sisters in Islam. is the belief in the angels. We have Muslims today that don't know their Iman, meaning they don't know their faith. They don't know the fundamentals of their faith. And when you ask them about angels, they know nothing about the angels. Some don't even believe. They think it's fairy tales, and they say they're Muslims. Again, because they don't understand their Aqeedah. And you have to believe in the angels. It says here, the Muslims believe that the angels were created before humans with the purpose of following orders of Subhanahu wa ta'ala and communicating with humans. This is a fact. Let me give you an example of that, my brothers and sisters. You know, the devil will never guide you rightly. You know that. But the angels will steer you right. There are instances that the angels actually intervene in things and you don't actually know it. I'll give you an example of that. You know, when I was going, this is almost maybe about 10 years ago, it was rough. Okay, the Salibin, the Tuba agents working out of the embassy were really, going off the charts. They were hiring gangsters, everything to fight me, especially going to the masjid. I decided that I love to go to different masjids, not the same masjid early in the morning. So I would travel and walk and run halfway, even as an old man, and run about a mile and a half to one masjid that I loved way out. So they took advantage of that. So they began to go after me in the street. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you, it was rough. They would throw rocks at me. They would throw feces at me. They would throw eggs at me. They would send people to rob me on the street. And I kept going to the masjid every day. And they said, well, if I catch you over here, I said, well, hey, I'm going on permission, subhanahu wa ta'ala, I would go. One day I was coming out of the masjid and I was getting ready to run. Suddenly I was told to turn, and I turned and here was a punk behind me with something in his hand. He was hired by the Tubab out of the embassy. That's right, my brothers and sisters. I was told. I turned, I looked, and this guy was like he was straight from the fire. And so I ran up there to him to hit him, because as you know, in an ambush, you never run from an ambush, you go towards the ambush. So he was trying to ambush me. So I ran to get him. And then he dropped what he had in his bag and he started to run. Yes. And I found out later from a person that knew this guy. He said that when he was coming close to me, there was something that blocked him. Yes, my brothers and sisters. He said there was something that blocked him. He didn't know what it was. He said it froze him. This is this gangster talking to this other guy to tell what happened to him. And it frightened him because he was coming to get me. He admitted he was hired by the Tubab out of the embassy. But these angels came in my defense. My brothers and sisters, this is real. My wife can also attest to some other things that's happened as well. We had a lady working with us. We have that here where you have people who work, they clean and so forth and so on. They cook, and this is, they put bread on the table, and it's all halal. And it's a nice system. We had this one sister, she was working with us at that time and living with us because we had a relative, we had a auntie of my wife who was staying with us, and she needed a lot of care, and we couldn't do it all the time. So anyway, one day she came towards me, and I was going towards the bathroom, and she came towards me by accident. She didn't mean no harm, and she was pushed. You can ask my wife about that. Somebody pushed her. It wasn't me. I didn't even know. I didn't know nothing about it until she went in there and told my wife. She said, I was close to your husband and I got pushed. Yes, my brothers and sisters. So these things, you must believe in the angels. And when you are righteous in what you do, and when you're a strong Muslim, these things will happen. These things come to you. when things are said to you, they're positive. You know it's from the angels. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is conveying to the angels to talk to you. You must believe in this, my brothers and sisters. Stuff is for real. It is real. And there's other instances, even in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when they had wars. And there was things that the angels actually came to aid the Muslims, especially in the first battle. And there's testament to this. There's another testament to this. When the Muslims were going towards Mecca to retake Mecca, now to take it out from idol worship. I don't know if many of you know the story what happened, but the Muslims had a treaty and they broke the treaty. They killed some Muslims, and the Muslims now left Medina to go back to Mecca to clean it out and to bring it back under Tawheed and bring it under the Khalifa. Khalid, now I talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Saif Allah was going around one side of Mecca. He was met by what? A she-devil. Yes, it was human, but it wasn't human. And it's all chronicled. And he was protected because he was Saif Allah. And so the angels helped him. He slayed this she-devil that came out from the statutes. I'm giving you these things, brothers and sisters, because I want you to see these things and understand how the angels work. Because it is real. You must believe in the angels. When I step out, you as Muslims, when you step out of your house, you should greet the angels because they're there writing books on you. I always greet them. I give them salam. You read what the Prophet ﷺ has ordered us to do with the angels. When I step out of the door, I always give salam to them. So I'm giving you this because this is part of our faith. If you want to be a mu'min, you must do these things, my brothers and sisters. This is very important. I'm giving you stuff that I'm talking about the real Orthodox, fundamental Muslims who believe, who truly believe they do these things. And they believe in the angels. And the angels are there. They will protect you. Believe me, they will give you things. They'll tell you things. And sometimes you'll be wondering why something happened. And I'll give you last, I'm going to stop on that. I was looking for something one time. I was looking and I didn't know what to think and so forth. So I calmed down. And suddenly I was told, I had to be told by an angel. And I found it. I went outside and found where I left it. Because I had forgot. I didn't even know. I thought it was inside the house. I've been looking through the house. It was outside when I came back from the masjid. And I didn't even realize it. I thought it was inside the house. And I was finally talking, sitting down in like something. No, yeah. It's at the tree. It's near the tree. Because where I used to live, we had a big tree there, a big trunk, and I walked past the tree to come into the gate. There was my watch. Yes, my brothers and sisters. So I just wanted to give you that so you can understand the significance of being a Muslim and having the Malaika around you. Now, our messenger said about this. The messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam, said, believe in what was revealed to him from his Lord. He believes in that. So have the believers. The believers must believe in that revelation to him and to all the prophets. All of them have believed in Allah and his angels and his books and all messengers. This is important, my brothers and sisters. This is where you trump our distractors who talk that we hate all the other prophets of Allah. We hate Solomon, Suleiman, alayhi salatu wasalam. We hate Dawood, David, alayhi salatu wasalam. We hate Abraham. And you hear all type of things. We hate Jesus or Isa, alayhi salam. This is not true. Here you are ordered to believe in his books and his messengers. You have to, saying we will make no distinction between any of his messengers. You heard me say this many times. My brothers and sisters never make distinctions between the messengers. That's for subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has his domain. That's why we have the seven heavens. If you remember what happened with our prophet, he was allowed to go up there to see what was happening on a journey. These seven heavens, you'll see there's prophets in them. So you make no distinction among them. You don't say this one is better than the other one, this one is so forth and so on. You don't make distinctions. You love and respect them all. They say, we hear and obey. We seek your forgiveness, our Lord, and to you is the final destination. Meaning, again, predestination, destination to him, that you must believe in that. And you have to also believe something else, that the angels are always prostrating towards Subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're always making praise towards Subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as we do. They make dhikr to him. That's something, my brothers and sisters, that you have to understand. This is part of the belief. Now, there's another surah also, Surah 21 in verse 20, which explains just what I talked about. So that's Surah 21 and verse 20. And the angels in Islam have the following qualities. This, again, is perplexing because many Muslims don't understand this and know this. They are made from light, and angels have free will. Yes, my brothers, this and sisters, this is the thing that we have to believe about the Malaika, that they are made from light and free will. So the importance of the angels in the Quran is deep. Now I'm going to give you some things, my brothers and sisters, to strengthen your iman in the qadr Allah. Because remember, it's not only predestination and karma. The angels, some of them, but the most important angels have names. That's right, my brothers and sisters. And each one has a function. And I'm going to go over this quickly. The first one is Jibril. You know who he was. Alayhi salam. He said it is him who gave the revelation to our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And the power of the night of power. And it's believed of his, that he was known as the angel of revelation. This is Jibril alayhi salam. This is him. He is the angel of revelation. As he played a vital role in communicating Islam to humanity. If you remember the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, Jibril ﷺ will appear in a human form and he would make comments. And the Prophet ﷺ knew it was him, but the companions were sitting around, didn't know. And the questions were asked by the stranger. When he would leave, he would just disappear. He would take steps, he's gone, vanished, gone. They asked, who was that? And he would say, this is Jibril, asking about if you knew your religion or not. So my brothers and sisters, the importance of Jibril is very, very important. The angel Jibril is known as Gabriel in the Christian scriptures. In the Quran, Subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear that anyone who opposes Jibril or other angels will be an enemy of Allah. This is why I was talking about before, my brothers and sisters. Why it's so upsetting to me when we have Muslims, especially in the West. But I'm going to tell you something, even in the Muslim states now, we have people, even Muslims, that don't even believe in the angels. And they don't even know anything about them. And in the West, especially acute. When you ask Muslims, what about the angels? Oh, that's fairy tale. Then that's not true. Oh, yeah, they may be angels, but I don't know what they do. This is what I'm getting from Muslims. You have a serious problem in your iman. My brothers and sisters, you must study the qadr Allah. It's important that you as a Muslim know these things about Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know his qadr, the predestination, and what that entails. Part of that is the angels we're talking about now. You should get to know these angels. What do they do, and so forth and so on, because this is part of your religion, part of your faith. Salam alaikum, my dear brother, Method. Salam alaikum, my dear brother. So Jibril is important as, again, he is known as the angel of revelation. Now, Again, let's look at this. Whoever's an enemy to Jibril, he who has brought the Quran down down his heart, upon his heart, by permission of Allah, confirming that which was before it as guidance and good tidings to the believers. Whoever is an enemy to Allah and his angels and his messengers and Jibril and Mikael, I'll get about him, talk about him, then indeed Allah is the enemy to Allah is the enemy to the believers, meaning that you, a person who has no belief in these things, then you are enemy. You are an enemy. And you have to be very careful of that, my brothers and sisters. If you don't know about the angels, that's one thing. But you should be careful in what you say about the angels as well. If you do not know about the angels, say you don't know and you don't understand and ask somebody. But don't say it's a fairy tale, or don't say I don't quite believe it, or I have doubt in them. You had just pushed yourself out of the fold of Islam. You cannot. Now, of course, if you're ignorant, that's another matter altogether. But you have to be very careful here. That's why I say the Qadr Allah is complex. It's deep. And it's not just only predestination. There's other things like now you see how important this is about the angels. If you have a problem with the angels, you're going to have a problem with your Islam. And we have a proof of this, again, the Surah 2, which is Baqarah, verses 97 and 98. I'm giving you those proofs that you can check out, inshallah ta'ala. This is Surah 2 and verses 97 and 98. And it talks about this issue here. And so you revisit that in your studies. Now we get to the second angel, Mikael. Now, if anybody knows about the hadith, the very frightening hadith of when the Yom Kiyama is going to come and the earth will be destroyed, and how mankind will die and so forth. And there's a conversation that happens between the angels and Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's very, very, very scary when I listen to that. And as each of the angels will pass on, I won't get into that because that's a class in itself. But Subhanahu wa ta'ala has given instructions to these angels. Mikael, the angel Mikael is known as Michael in Christianity. He is a friend to humanity. He is known as a giver of rain. Many Muslims don't know that, which waters the land and helps to provide food for people. He is believed to guard places of worship and reward people's good deeds. This is Mikael, the second angel of importance. And if you remember the verse in Surah 8, with my favorite verse, not verse, the chapter, and that's Anfal, Surah 8. And I can't remember if it's number verse 10 or 13. I can't recall. Subhanahu wa ta'ala in there talks about he sent down the rain. The rain is used to purify us and to remove the stain of shaitan from us. This is the mercy of Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, explaining the importance of rain, my brothers and sisters, what the rain is for. It's not there for us to love it and to curse it. No, it's sent down as a mercy from Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's designed to purify us. We use the purification in what? In wudu, in making our purification. And also, it helps us to remove the stain of shaitan from us. That's in Surah 8. And this verse, I can't remember 13. I can't remember what verse it is, but it's in some of the early verses. You'll see it there. Even in English, it's written in there. Let's go on here. Mikael, he is believed to guard places of worship and reward people's good deeds as the angel of mercy. This is what he's known as. He's known as the angel of mercy. He asks Allah to forgive people's sins. You see how beautiful Islam is, my brothers and sisters? Here you have an angel that intercedes somewhat for us. He asked subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive people's sins. This is how beautiful Islam is. This is why you should learn your deen. This is why our brothers and sisters who are Christians and Hebrews, you should come to us, accept Islam. Because here, our religion gives you the ins and outs of life, and even the after death, and even explains the function of the angels, which in Christianity, you don't have that. And our brothers, the Jews, don't talk about that as much either, and many don't even believe it. But this is important because subhanahu wa ta'ala has got Mikhail to look after us, to intercede for us. It is believed that the angel Jibril and angel Michael will be present on the day of judgment. This is what is said. Israel is third. He's the angel of death. Now we're getting into another area. It's he who takes the souls of the bodies. And you remember that one thing that happened is a hadith talked about the story of a person who was under Suleiman. This person said he could escape death. So he began to leave. He left under he left Suleiman and began to travel, and he thought he could escape death. He ended up, I believe the story, he ended up in present day India. And he thought he escaped death. And what happened was the angel took his soul there. My brothers and sisters, I don't care where you are, where you go. You can go underwater. You can hide behind steel barriers with no windows, no door, nothing in there. The angel Israel, he will get you. He will find you, and he will take your soul. You must believe that, my brothers and sisters. That's why there's no hiding. This is why it's important upon you, important that you do the best you can as a Muslim. You do what is right the best way you can. And when you do error, you ask for forgiveness, because you do not know when the angel Israel, alayhi salam, will come. You do not know this. So you should be on your best behavior, because it could happen at any time. It's important, my brothers and sisters. Be mindful of that. Be very mindful of that. Now Israfil. Now this angel is he's the fourth angel, the angel who will present on the day of resurrection. It is believed that the angel Israfil will blow a trumpet to announce the day of judgment. Now you remember in hadiths, there'll be a trumpet sound, and the earth will be coming. The day of judgment will come. This trumpet will sound loud enough for, the whole world will hear it. This is this angel here. And so now each one you see have a function. Then we get into the angels that will come to us in the grave. These angels are serious, my brothers and sisters. Munkar, Nakir. They will come. An angel is responsible for questioning the soul of a person who has died. In there, you'll be questioned about who you worshiped. And I won't get deep into this. One will be smelling good, and the other will be smelling bad. The one is smelling bad, is all over you. I think you know where your destination is going. If the other one is smelled good and he's kind words to you, you know your destination. So be mindful of that, my brothers and sisters, because you will ask about who is your Lord. That's one of the things. There's a series of questions that ask. You read the hadiths and you get into about the qadr and about maut, about death, and in there they'll talk about this. So the angels communicate with Allah and humans to ensure the direct word of Allah is given to humans correctly. Again, my brothers and sisters, as I said before, the angels will talk to you, and they will talk and they will give you direction and give you what is right. No angel will give you something wrong. When you know an angel's telling you to go to a store and go get some wine to drink, you know that's not the angels, that's the devil. Okay, we know that. Okay, the Muslims believe the angels are with them at all times. I said this. When you step out, you should greet them. When you go inside the masjid, they're there. And you have they're writing books. They're writing your book about your life. You got to believe that. And then the two angels that are sitting by the soldier. This is why inside the masjid is so important, my brothers and sisters. When you go inside the masjid, don't go in there lazily, sleepy-eyed. Well, okay, I want to hurry and get this over with. The two angels are right here, and they have names. You should be mindful of that. And you should be meticulous about your worship inside the masjid because they're there. Don't disrespect the angels. You perform your prayers correctly and on time. You give the praises correctly as prescribed by our Prophet ﷺ. When you are called to the prayer line, you don't sit back there 10 minutes later talking on the telephone to your wife or to something in the dunya. When you are called to the prayer line, you come as prescribed. You follow according to the sunnah, your salat, especially inside the masjids. When you enter the masjid, you always step with your right foot. Don't go with your left foot. You step with your right foot. And there's dua that you can say. When you go inside, that's another class. Perhaps I may give the class one of these days. My wife asks me sometimes to do this. I forget to do it. But going to the masjid is a big thing, my brothers and sisters. When you step out of the house to walk to the masjid, or even in your car going to the masjid, there's things you should be doing. So I'm just kind of giving you some of these things to help you to do your studies and to improve your Islam, to prove your faith. So, my brothers and sisters, that's it in a nutshell. The Qadr Allah, again, you have to believe this. What's important here, my brothers and sisters, is don't let the hypocrites fool you. The hypocrite will say he doesn't believe in the legislation because you know that because of what he's doing. He doesn't believe that Subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who legislates. He believed that the French government has the right to legislate, or the American government has the right to legislate, or that the Chinese government has the right to legislate, or the government of South Africa has the right to legislate, and they can legislate over Allah. And then the same Muslim who turns back around when you ask him about the Qadr Allah, oh yes, oh I have fear for that, oh yes, I believe that. My brothers and sisters, they're together. You must believe that Subhanahu wa ta'ala, because in these two chapters of Iman, the Asul fi Al-Aqeedah in Arabic, you talk about the fundamentals. Here you must believe Subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who has legislation. Then you also have to believe the Qadr, that things are predestined. These two are one or another because one has to do also with knowledge. Okay? So you have to understand that. Make the correlation between the two. You must believe in this, the legislation, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is right only, and you must believe in the Qadr Allah and his angels and his books and his messengers. And I gave you now who the angels are. So in a nutshell, my brothers and sisters, this is what we talked about here today. And I'm going to do something a little different today because I had a couple of questions asked me, and I thought they were important. And so anybody has any questions about the Qadr, it's technical. And if anyone ever comes to you, Muslim, and says to you about quote unquote karma, and they make it less than, or they make fun of it, you get away from that person or you correct him. You correct that person, even if he's a Muslim. If he downtrots it, says something about it, you correct him. You must learn this, my brothers and sisters. You must learn this. So I want to answer something. There's a couple of questions that was asking me. The first question was asked about something that happened in the United States. I had a sister talk about an issue, and she wanted to become the second wife. Now, I know my brother here, Sundata Method here, he's got a good program. You should subscribe to him. He talks about this type of issue like this, about the philandry, about the Muslim having more than one wife, and he interviews the sisters who are actually in it. So the sisters who are about ready to go into this, you should revisit his site and sign up and subscribe to it so you can hear the sisters' own words talk about this issue. It's important because each one of us have something to offer here. And he has a platform where he talks about this. So you sisters who's sitting there, because as you heard me talk last week about the black man and his family, which I'll get about that in a few minutes, I talked about the issue that we don't have enough brothers for our sisters to marry. So some of the sisters are now considering this, but they don't know the ins and outs of it. This is a good place here to learn. Our brother here, Sundata Method, you subscribe to him. He's here in the chat here. You subscribe to his station. That way you can get the ins and outs. You can hear the sisters from their own words talking about this issue. But anyway, this sister asked me a question. She said, look, I'm thinking about being the second wife to this brother. And so she said, I don't know what's going to happen in the United States. If I do this, can I get in trouble, so forth and so on. Okay, let me tell you the rulings about this. Our scholars contend that you live in the West, you must follow the laws of the land. If those laws conflict with the Sharia, which they do, you should migrate from that. We know that it's not easy to do that. Or if you can't, you find a way around the law. This is what the scholars have done here. Since you can't leave, okay, they found ways around it. We know that the law, the American law, you have to sign papers and so forth and so on. Okay, you know, you have this gentleman, this brother has already a wife. He's registered his wife. She's classified in U.S. terms as his wife. Islam, we know we don't have these type of things. So the brother and sister who want to marry, they can do the Fatiha and write the nikah, and they can have witnesses. You have the imam. This is preferably. You have an imam there and witnesses, and you have some wali for the sister. So her rights will be protected. And then you have the brother, of course, and they both putting down in nikah, you know, the preconditions to the marriage, what they want. She can say, look, I'll agree to be the second wife, but I want to go away from my husband if he takes on a third wife. She can put those conditions. He can tell his wife, he can say, look, I have two wives, but I'm going to be a third wife. If my second wife, I want a third wife, my second wife agrees to that. You know, you can barter. It's like you barter, not barter, that's a bad word, but you negotiate in this time between. That's why she has to have a wali, a guardian to help her. And you have the imam there, and you have witnesses. You must have this. Then you do your thing, you know, and everything's agreed. You pay your mahar to her. This is still in the United States, not in Morocco, in the United States. And she's technically your wife Islamically. She's your wife Islamically, but not under the state of the, you know, the United States. She's not. But you know, the draconian laws of the United States, you can have 6,000 mistresses, but you can't have two wives as bigamy. So here you classify her, but you must be careful. She is your wife Islamically, but under the United States law, she is not. She's classified as mistress. We don't call her that because you fulfilled your obligations to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and to the Quran and Sunnah. So I gave you that answer, and you can talk to the sisters. Assalamu alaikum, my dear brother Mustafa. So I wanted to answer that because I know there's questions about things like that. So again, you have your marriage Islamically, everything is written down. You have the imam there, the sister's there. She has a wali who's protected her, who's able to protect her life. You know, her family, uncles, or brothers, somebody like this. If not, then they have other ways too. They gave fatwas now where you can do it over the phone. I mean, there's things that's happening that they've tweaked the law so that way the Muslims can find a way to get married. Okay, and it's good because you have to find a way around this without violating the law. And then, of course, you give the Mar and you give the Fatiha, and she's your wife. She's now your second wife in Islam. So I wanted to get that out there. Secondly, I had a question asked, and I answered this one time a long time ago. I did a program where let me see where I can find her question here. Okay, yeah, okay. This sister had a question also. Apparently, I think she's from Sudan. She was asking, and she was told that the people who are dying in these demonstrations, in the last demonstration, the last couple of years, in the recent demonstrations by police, they shot and killed them. If they were martyred, if they're martyrs, she asked me this question. And I have to answer this in this way. I ask, the crowd is yelling for democracy. You're not a martyr. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, remember I said in our Aqidah, who has the right to legislate? Subhanahu wa ta'ala only. What is his law? It's Sharia. It's not democratic ways and means. It is not, or communist ways and means, or Taoism ways and means. These people who are chanting down the street, Democrat, we want democracy, we want democracy, we want this. They're actually taking on the law of the disbelievers. Here you uttering this, and then something happened to you. You're not a martyr. You're not a martyr. I want that clear, my brothers and sisters. We have enough proof to say that, and I'll give you one of them. Surah 4, verse 141. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says in there that he will not allow the disbelievers to put their way over a believer. Okay, this is important. He says this. So democracy is the way, it's the part of the Taghut. And you remember also in Surah 4, Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about democracy. He didn't name it that, but he said it's part of what? Evil. Is part of wrongdoing. And is these governments today who are democracy is full of what? Wrongdoing, right? Legislation is off cued. It's all over the place. They say we're protecting the land, but they allow, homosexuality. They allow pornography. They allow sex bars and so forth and so on. They even allow now marijuana. See, so this is the tahakma illa the Taghut. This is what this is called. Democracy is called that. Here you're ordering this, and then you get shot and killed. You're not a martyr, my brothers and sisters. So I want that understood, because this is important. And you say, well, what proof is that again? Surah 4, Nisa, verse 141. It's a big tafsir on that. And the ways of the disbelievers, Subhanahu wa ta'ala said, he will not let the ways of disbelievers over the ways of the believer. He will not let them triumph over that. Democracy is that. And the Muslims who adopt in democracy, you see what's happened to them? Their banking system. Most countries are almost insolvent. The Western world is almost insolvent. You look at it because of riba and financing. That and the Muslims are adopting this system. We're not supposed to adopt a system. That's why, again, my brothers and sisters, I was saying, you got to remember something. If you as a Muslim, if you are joining any group, Islamic or non-Islamic, and you look at their bylaws and you look at their charter, even the Muslims, You ask what group, what they believe in. You better understand their Aqidah if they're Muslims. That's why I said I will not join any of the Islamic groups, because they're part of the 72. Because once you get to talking to them, you start understanding their concepts, there's innovations here and there. How about the non-Muslim groups? They have flash and bang and they have money. But you look at their bylaws and you see their financing system is riba based. It's democracy based. You as a Muslim cannot join it. You just cannot. It's riba. You know what Subhanahu wa ta'ala said? You may war against him when you take that on. This is serious. It's in the Quran. You Muslims who join the non-Muslim groups who advocating things of democracy, democratic financing, the way that, with riba, with interest and all that, you cannot join in that. You are just now putting that way over on you, on other Muslims. You cannot join with them. So that I want to make that clear, because because people or Muslims are saying, no, this is not right. We can't do this. These people are not fighting me for my faith, but they're fighting Subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he says that if those who adopt that, you made war against him. Harb, that's the word. That's in Arabic. You're making war against Allah when you accept this. So when you go and say, okay, I join this charter here, knowing full well that they're backing financing and credit unions, banks, and other things like this through Western Tubab ways and means, brothers, you cannot join. When they offered a credit card based upon 2%, 1%, 0.5% interest, it's riba. It's forbidden. It is forbidden. And you made war when you accept that. You made war on Subhanahu wa ta'ala when you accept riba. So I wanted to answer those two questions about that. And there's one more that was asked as well, and I'll be quick on this one. There's a question asked about the Muslims. The Muslims going into places, restaurants inside the United States, and they're going in there with their job. And would they be at fault if they go to a party, Christmas party? She said a Christmas and New Year's party with the people in the company. If you have a strong faith, Iman, and it's incumbent upon you to go, because if you don't go, because you do live in the West, you have to compromise some things. We understand that. And if you say no to this, perhaps it may be a detriment to your job, and you were married, especially your brother. You're responsible for feeding your children, your wife, and paying bills and so forth. You can't make a wrong move here, because you have a short window in the United States. You do one thing wrong, you out on the street, and you don't want your children sleeping in your car or in a box or something on the street corners. We have that today. So you got to be very careful and mindful of that. So you go to their party. But my brothers and sisters, that's not a ticket to drink the liquor. It's not a ticket to eat pork and eat some of their food that they eat. You cannot. So the best thing to do is you go there, and if quicker that you can go, if you can stay there for a while and then you leave, if you can do it, then do that. If you sit at the table to begin to pass this stuff around, you don't eat it. When they pass around champagne, you don't drink it. And any food is given to you, to make sure that because you do not know if it's pork hidden in the food, you're not sure, then you say Bismillah over it and you're covered. So I just wanted to cover a few of those things, my brothers and sisters, today. And so I'll wrap this up. Thank you, my brother Isaac, for showing up. Mustafa, thank you, my brother. I have another porno here at the end here. These guys are something else. They're something else. Pornographic. Okay. My brothers and sisters, this is the last of this, and I'm going to continue my show next week. Perhaps Sunday, on the second part of the Black man and his family. I'm going to be covering a very interesting topic coming this Sunday, so watch out for it. I'll give out the marquee and so forth, because you want to ask, Yahya, what is happening? Because I'm a Black man, okay, and African, and our families are confused tremendously, and I want to talk about some issues that affect us as Black people, especially the Black man and his family. And so I raised some issues last week, and I want to raise another issue here in a couple of days. So watch out for that, and please come to see that program. I'm going to be frank and I'm going to be honest. And this one is very important because we have had a lot of misgivings, and we have a lot of brothers that are full of hate for this particular group of people. And in some ways it's warranted, but in other ways it's not warranted. And so I want to get into that and some of the aspects of that, inshallah, in a couple of days. So that, again, you watch out for that. I'll put out the marquee, and that is the Black man and his family. And it'll be the second part. And this is going to be a topic that is important because this covers the Muslims as well. And I wanted to make sure that, this subject is dealt with correctly. Thank you, my dear brother, Sudata Method. And yes, he's right. I want Subhanahu wa ta'ala, I hope Subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us all and keeps us safe, especially those inside the United States. And, my brothers and sisters, just remember something. The angels are there. Okay? Just remember that. The angels are there. Give them your salam often. When you step out that door, give your salam. Become friends with the angels because they're there. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says is there. Our prophet says is there. He's even guided you how to talk to them. Gain their favor by your worship. And things happen, my brothers and sisters. I'm a testament to that. I believe in the angels. I've seen how they worked and how they've done. And there's been many things, but I won't get into those things there now. But I believe in those. So become friends with the angels, my brothers and sisters. Talk to them. Step out that door. Give them salam. Give them salam alaikum. And when you get ready to enter back inside the house, give them salam as well. So my brothers and sisters, that's it for today. Thank you for joining those in the future. And thank you, my brothers and sisters there in the chat. And I hope that Subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and keep us, so in that way we'll see each other again in a couple of days, inshallah ta'ala. So I'll leave you with the beautiful words from the beautiful African Asiatic language of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.